निरञ्जनं नित्यम् अनन्तरूपं भक्तानुकम्पाधृतविग्रहं वै ईशावतारं परमेशमिड्यं तं रामकृष्णं शिरसा नमामः। Namaste and welcome to this series of talks on guided meditation for beginners. As usual, we will start our session through a guided meditation. Let us all sit up straight, keeping our back, neck and head in a relaxed upright position. Visualize that your whole body is strong and healthy and a good instrument for the realization of the divine within you. Pay attention to various limbs from the toes to the top of your head. And as you focus your mind onto those parts, visualize that each part is healthy, strong and pure. Focus on your toes, feet, ankle and calf, knee, thighs, back, stomach, chest, shoulders, arms, elbow and hands, neck, face, head, and the whole body. Visualize it to be pure, strong and healthy. Now focus on your breath. Breathe in a deep rhythmic way, exhaling and inhaling fully. As you breathe in, visualize that you are breathing in pure light that fills your whole being with peace and purity. Breathe in this way thrice. Now let's pray for the welfare of everyone throughout the universe. We are mentally connected with all the beings, so your prayers can reach out and help others spiritually, mentally, even physically. May all be happy, may all be joyful, may all be peaceful, may all seek the divine within themselves. Send out your prayers to your right. Visualize your thoughts going out, reaching and touching and uplifting all those whom it comes in contact with. Visualize your prayers going to your left, in front of you, behind you, above, below, and in all directions. With you in the center, you radiate this universal prayer for the welfare of all beings throughout the universe. Now withdraw your mind from the outside world and focus in the center of your being, the center of your heart. Visualize that this body is strong and healthy and pure. Visualize that pervading this body and finer than that, and overlapping this is another body, the subtle body, which is the mental body, full of spiritual ideas, spiritual thoughts, at peace. I visualize that finer than this, penetrating all these three and overlapping this, is even a finer body, the causal body, the body of knowledge, of spiritual knowledge. And beyond this, penetrating all the three of them, is the infinite Atman, the Supreme Being, the ocean of consciousness. In that ocean of consciousness, visualize a beautiful lotus, fully bloomed, full of freshness and fragrance, illuminating all the three bodies with its divine radiance. You may replace that lotus, the light in the center of that lotus, with any divine form of your choice. Imagine that divine form to be alive, living, full of compassion, full of spiritual qualities, eager to bless you with all those divine excellences. Imagine the light radiating from him to be the light of knowledge that dispels the darkness of spiritual ignorance. It's a light of purity that fills you through and through with the sense of holiness. It's a light of bliss that fills you with joy. It's a light of supreme peace that fills you with serenity and tranquility. It's a light of strength that strengthens you physically, emotionally, mentally, morally, and spiritually. That divine is our higher self. Feel the divine presence within you. Connect with him through your prayer. You may repeat the universal sound Om, the Pranava, or the mantra that has been given to you by your spiritual teacher, or the Gayatri mantra, or if you wish, Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya Namah. In an attitude of surrender and prayerfulness, try to connect with him, feel his presence within you, and repeat that mantra. Watch the repetition process. If the mind wanders away anywhere, bring it back to the divine within you. Meditate in this way for 5 minutes. asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. In this way, every day, morning and evening, one should try to connect with the real divine within us, which is our higher self. To anchor ourselves in that wonderful, in the presence of that wonderful being that is infinite freedom, infinite beauty, purity, knowledge, goodness, and all wonderful things, excellences that you can imagine. That is our true higher self, the Paramatman. Today, we had a slight change in the process, a little bit more variation into the process of meditation, where rather than just saying that let's meditate on the lotus in the center of the heart, I took you through the process of visualizing three levels, the three bodies. One is the physical body that we are very much familiar. But we said there's a mental body, the subtle body, and I asked you to visualize that that mental body is even finer than the gross body. And beyond that, we said there's something, the causal body, that is even finer than the mental body. It's just like ice, which is solid, you can hold and feel it. But it has got another state where it's in liquid form. More energy is there, more freedom is there. And again, if you heat it more, it becomes water vapor. Greater freedom, greater energy is there. So, we have likewise these three bodies, the gross body, the subtle body, the causal body. And these are all products of something which is bodiless, which is nameless and formless. And because there are no boundaries there, no limitations, it is infinite in it. So that ultimate higher state is the Atman, which is part of the ocean, the infinite ocean, the Paramatman. The heart center, when we say meditate in the heart, we mean meditating at that consciousness level. Therein you visualize a beautiful lotus in that ocean of consciousness. And it's very important to understand and keep in mind that that source, that is the source of all that we require, the nourishment to nourish the knowledge body, the mental body, and the physical body. The energy, the knowledge, the beauty, the purity, the happiness, everything radiates and comes out of that. And the more transparent the three bodies are, the more that light will shine in greater glory. And that's the difference between one person and the other, how pure our body, mind is. So in great souls, the incarnations of God, you will find that while they are also human beings like us, but the manifestation of the divine power in them was just like the sun when it comes out. And in others, it is so much limited, it might be like a lamp in a dark night. Whatever it is just the covering that's making the difference. That's the difference between a realized person and an ignorant person. Not in the difference in kind. They are of the same substance, but the manifestation of that power is different depending on the purity of the body mind, which makes a difference how much of that light can shine out of it. So that's a wonderful thing. We are not doomed or miserable beings. We are ever connected to the divine source. But because our mind is constantly projected outwards, busy with the things of the world, busy with itself in the mental level, and never turning around and trying to connect with that infinite source, the mind gets little muddled up. Just like the sun is out there, but some clouds come and block the sun. And when you go out and say the sun is not out there, of course it is there. It's just that the clouds have come and blocked it. Now, if the clouds couldn't be moved away, If the wind comes and blows the clouds away, then the sun shines in all its glory. Or maybe you can go beyond the clouds and above the clouds, and to you again the sun becomes available. So, in all spiritual disciplines, the primary purpose is to remove this cloud that's in the mind. That's why it's called Chitta Shuddhi, purification of the mind. So, how do we do that? Of course, we have said that we have got these three bodies, the physical bodies which we feel, and we feel that is our being. We are born and we live in this and we feed this, we exercise this. And sometimes we feel that we are that and that much alone. The scientists who went and explored the inner space, the rishis, they said, no, it's not that. That's only a very low level manifestation of what we are. Beyond this is the mind full of ideas, and the quality of ideas, it could be something more to do with the external world of enjoyment and action, or it could be a much refined pure mind that is now reflecting the inner glory of the light or the Atman within. And beyond that is even a higher level which is called the mental space. So there are various classifications. One is that the three bodies are there, the Sthula Sharira, gross body, the subtle body which is the Sukshma Sharira, the causal body which is the Karan Sharira, and beyond that is the Atman which is bodiless. That is one classification. These are different ways of presenting the truth. Okay. Or sometimes they say we have got these 5 koshas of the sheets. The outermost gross one is Annamaya kosha, made out of food material. Then beyond that, finer than that is the Pranamaya kosha, made out of energy. Beyond that is something even finer, the mental, the mind level, mind sheath called Manomaya kosha. Finer than that is the Vijnanamaya kosha, the knowledge space. And even finer than that, where you are almost in touch with the Atman, is the Anandamaya kosha, full of bliss. These are the 5 layers, like the 5 layers of the onion, one by one. The grossest one is the body, the finest one is the Jnanamaya, Anandamaya kosha, but beyond that is the real Atman, which is what we are. Doesn't matter which method or which model you would like to do. The important thing is to say that we are not only this gross body or the mental body, but there is something much finer, much purer, more beautiful, and that can be realized. Realized means it can be experienced. That is our true nature, always has been, is now, and will be. So what's the problem? The problem is we have forgotten that, we have moved away from that. Our anchor has shifted, our locus has shifted from that, and now we feel that we are this person, this body, this mind, this individuality, and that we are born, we live, we die, and this state of self-forgetfulness is called ignorance, spiritual ignorance. And spiritual sadhana, spiritual discipline, meditation, japa, puja, and all those things that we do in the name of religion and spirituality is meant to purify the mind so that we can experience ourselves as a spiritual being. Okay, so that framework that has been fixed in this way, and we would like to experience ourselves as a spiritual being in all its glory, the effort that is put to acquire or achieve that is called sadhana, spiritual disciplines. Meditation is one of those disciplines where we try to calm ourselves. The body is in a relaxed position, no distractions. We withdraw our mind from the outside world. We get into the rhythm of peaceful, harmonic breathing, because the body and the breath and the mind are all interconnected, and everything is in a rhythmic way, then they don't disturb you. Then we turn the direction of our mind and focus it to at the divine in our own heart. Now, the divine itself is nameless and formless, like the ocean of light. Some people would like to meditate on that. Others say that's very abstract. We would like to have a more concrete support, and for them they would choose to meditate on any one divine form. It could be an incarnation of God, it could be any deity, but it requires something physical to focus your mind on. Today we'll tell you why that is easier and useful. Because our mind is constituted to think through the help of names and forms, nama and rupa. That's why the child is seeing forms and asking the mother, what is that, what is that, what is that? And mother keeps on labeling them, and the child thinks, I'm learning this. So whether it's alphabets or the chair, table, people, whatever. And the more forms we collect with the appropriate labels in our mind, we think we are knowing more things. The mind is, all this information is being collected, and we can link them together and have relationships and all those things, then that's knowledge. And if you can manipulate them and do things, then we are utilizing that knowledge. But it's all happening within the mind. Here in the spiritual path, we understand that mind itself is a problem, because the reality is beyond the mind. So how do we transcend the mind? That is a challenge. By reading too many scriptures, understanding things, we are collecting more information at the mental level only. And if we have, no matter how much clarity we will have, we might become great learned persons, we might become philosophers, but we will not become spiritual people. The intellect will be helped, not the spirit. And we become trapped in that jungle of the mind, and we might think that we have very, very knowledge. So Sri Ramakrishna says, to know many things is ignorance, to know the one thing is knowledge. That one thing is beyond that. You see how the definition is different from how we think in this world. If somebody has got many degrees and has collected so much information, we say he's a very knowledgeable person, he has got so many, all the suffixes behind his name, PhD, this. But so he knows many things about the world, but he doesn't know the reality beyond the world. In a spiritual life, we want to come face to face and experience that reality of what we are. And the sages say, that is really out of this world, what we are. That is our divine birthright. It is there here and now, but it is just like the sun is out there right now. But it's a cloudy day, we don't see the sun. This mind is cloudy and we don't see the inner self. How do we go beyond that? So, we need to anchor ourselves. Like you have the GPS, when you are going on a journey, you set your destination, and then you just follow the instructions of the navigator. Likewise, we require a GPS in our spiritual life. We might call it God pursuit system or God positioning system. Somewhere inside in our journey, in our horizon, in our everyday activity, the anchor should be there that by the end of this life, I should merge myself in the divine. So, all of our thoughts, actions, activities will be now aligned to that. In the absence of any location, then we might be just cruising around this world, sometimes going here, going there, enjoying things, no destination, no clarity. And most of the time you'll find that we have been going round and round, and we are almost in the same place where we started. At birth and death, we had some good fun in between. Okay, that's not what a spiritual seeker does. So he sets his goal that in this life, I will try to make an attempt to realize my true nature. Okay, everything else will be taken away from me. What can help me? Who can help me to achieve that? Can somebody give me a navigation system that will lead me to that goal? Yes, of course. Those who have gone to the goal can help you. Those are the spiritual teachers. And we discussed about this concept and the idea of who is a guru and how the spiritual knowledge is transmitted or is made accessible to us on last Sunday's talk on Guru Purnima. We had that. Now, when we wanted to meditate on the divine within ourselves, what did we say? Visualize that to be an ocean of consciousness or divine light in the center of that lotus. Lotus is a symbol of unfoldment, okay, spiritual unfoldment of that inner divine qualities within us. And we said you may repeat the universal mantra, the pranava, the shabda brahman, om, because that sound, pranava, which we hear when I say om, I pronounce it through my mouth, you hear through your ears. This is a very low level manifestation at the gross, that is expressed by the gross body and heard by the gross body. It's called Vaikhari. Vikhara means that is the physical body, that which is produced by the body, heard by the body. But behind this, that same sound om is at a subtle level in the mental space. There it's called Madhyama, in the middle. When we experience that in the knowledge space, it's called Pashyanti, where it's just You get a faint glimmer, the idea is coming out, but it's not very distinct, it's not expressed itself this way. But nonetheless, that energy, that beautiful power is there. Beyond that, at its source is the nada or the pranava or om. At that borderline of the impersonal and the personal, the non-manifest and the manifest. And that's why that is the Mula mantra. All mantras start with that. Now you can, if you have that degree of concentration and focus, you can utilize that repetition of that mantra to synchronize yourself with that energy there. See, everything in this universe is a manifestation of energy, Shakti, Sri Ramakrishna says. The reality which is Brahman is like potential energy. Shakti is like the kinetic energy. Okay, it's the two aspects of the same reality. So at the time when this potential energy sort of begins to create, the sound that is created is the Omkara sound. It is there all the time. We do not have the subtle ears to hear it, but that doesn't mean it is not there. Just like there are many TV channels, but if your TV is not tuned to the higher frequency, you don't receive them, but it is there all the time. Likewise, our senses are designed, which are built in this physical body, are designed to catch the receive signals and interpret them in the physical world only. And that's where we are bound and limited there. But there are many levels of existence in the subtle level, in the causal level. Because we are not tuned to them, we don't receive them. How do we transform this mind so that it resonates or is in tune with those subtle realities, and then suddenly you say, I experienced this, I had the vision of that particular form. So when the mind is at a very gross level, it receives very low physical level sensations through the eyes and ears and all that. So when we try to withdraw our mind from the outside world, we want to keep our body steady so it's not distracting us outside, and we try to withdraw the mind and focus it within. We are trying to resonate it, to tune it to the higher frequencies of our own being. So in that process, anything that can help us in the upliftment would be very nice. We discussed in the previous talks how two musical instruments that are similarly tuned and are kept in two different rooms. And if one plays a particular note on one of them, the other one will automatically resonate here and play the same music, even though they are not physically connected. So likewise, in the higher spiritual domains and dimensions, the pure energy of the Supreme Being manifests itself first as Om, and then it can come down to slightly grosser form through the mental level, and physically afterwards it vibrates as this physical world. Everything here is a vibration, and the state changes depending on the energy in that vibration. For example, water is made of, or block of ice is made of H2O molecules. Okay, but when the energy level is very low, all the molecules are locked together in their own place. That's what we call a solid ice. We give that particular name, ice, to that. When we inject more energy by heating it on a stove or something, suddenly the molecules are vibrating faster. They have just become free, and now they take the shape of the vessel. More freedom, more energy. If you inject more energy, keep on heating it until it boils, then the molecules are vibrating so fast that they become free and fill up the space, the whole room. Okay, so what is the difference in the three states between ice, water and water vapor? They are all water molecules, but the energy levels are changing. Likewise, you visualize this whole universe. That which is gross matter is something which is vibrating at a low energy, at a low frequency, so to say. When that vibrates faster, we call that the mind. And when that vibrates at a higher energy level, we call it the causal world or the self, not the self, you might say the energy level there. It's a gradation where the grossest is here and the subtlest is at the highest level. And how we can uplift our mind from the grosser levels to the higher level, to the highest level, so that we become tuned with it and experience it. Ultimately, we go beyond all those. That's the whole idea. So meditation is that process by which we increase the the capacity of the mind to grasp subtler and subtler dimensions of our being and the universe. As we practice, pour the whole mind onto one object, because the world is constituted of names and forms. The mind has got so many forms and so many words constantly they are coming and going into in its mental space. What we try to do is we try to select one form and one name. That's better than having 1,000 names and forms. We try to keep that into a loop rather than visualize a sine wave. It repeats itself. So in that way, we take one particular form of the divine that appeals to us, or that has been pointed out to us by our spiritual teacher, and that mantra that's given to us is the sound form of the deity. Okay, they're not separate. So here it's important to understand that aspect of the deity, the form that we are praying to, the energy level that is there, and the mantra are not distinct. Nam, Nami, Abhed, Sri Ramakrishna would teach. Name and the one named are not different. Bheda means different, Abheda means not different. So when we fully concentrate our mind on that mantra, so that it fills our whole mind, our whole mind is filled with that mantra only to the exclusion of other thoughts that cannot come into it. That means we have focused our whole mind onto it. Concentration means increasing the power of zooming into it like a microscope. So when we see a thing through our naked eye, we see, for example, a piece of cloth, so many things are there, structures and things. When you put that into a microscope and see times 10 magnification, so much atoms in the view will disappear, and some smaller part will magnify and occupy the whole field of vision. When again we change it to a times 100 magnification, a small part will now occupy the whole field of vision. When you go to 1000, a smallest part will again expand and fill the whole vision. So it is something like that. As our power of concentration develops and it zooms onto that particular mantra and that form, then you will find that all other thoughts, the noise that is there, they fill form or drift out of our mental vision. And the mind is fully occupied with that one particular form and that one mantra. You will experience that. And that shows how good your power of concentration is. Alright, so that's how you can judge whether so many thoughts were there or the thoughts were becoming less and less. And I can more or less see how the thoughts are rising in my mind and I am watching them, they're drifting out, and then before letting any other thought come in, I keep that loop of the mantra in there or the visual form, one of them in there. Sometimes you can meditate on a form or sometimes you can meditate on the mantra itself. Some people, depends on how you are constituted, but know that both are not different, identical. We want to have more and more depth onto it, so that in the 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the whole mind was totally one with that. That's how we improve the quality of our meditation. So it's important to know a couple of things there. First, that infinite ocean of consciousness, which is the Atman, nameless and formless, has manifested itself as this whole universe, including us. That is our anchor. That is the source of all that we are seeking for. In ignorance, we might have been seeking for it outside. Now we have found the source and we want to go to that. That nameless, formless becomes all these forms. Out of this many forms, there are some special forms which are the divine forms, which are the incarnations or the divine deities. And we can take the help of that form as an anchor to direct our mind. And of course, at the highest level, the Shabda Brahman Pranava is the highest mantra. But if one wants to have some more tangible personal linkage, then one takes the help of a spiritual tradition, a teacher, where he can give us the intermediate stages of the mantra. It will be like a chain. At one end, you have got the Omkara, and then you have got multiple layers of the chain, and you can go link by link and reach the ultimate goal. That is something we discussed a little bit in last Sunday. That's the whole science of mantras. So, This is all that is. That the deity that's you is our higher self, we are non-different from it. The mantra is not any different from the deity. And we are also not different from the mantra. Actually, the three are one. At the highest level, they merge and become one. When we come down, they appear to be different. Understanding that psychology, we take the help of those supports and try to raise our mind. And as the mind reaches higher levels, then the realities that are there at that higher level, we tune into that and you say, I had an experience of that, I had the darshan, I had the vision of that reality. So we have to take care during our everyday experience and not to let the mind drift and become too much entangled and bogged in the external world. Keep a part of it anchored on that spiritual thought. Through deep meditation, morning and evening, at that hour we close our eyes and shut our senses and the outside world and dive deep into that inner space where we feel that wonderful peace and presence. And when we open our eyes and go out there, we should try to keep a part of that mind anchored onto that subject of meditation by repetition of the mantra of just being mindful of the divine presence inside us at all times. And that consciousness of the divine is constantly nourishing us, providing us that knowledge and energy and consciousness, because through which these three levels of our bodies function. And the moment that disconnects, it falls flat, it's gone. Always being mindful where the source of that energy comes from in the midst of all activities. That is the thing. That's a test of how good our meditation is. If the meditation is good, you'll be able to keep a little bit of that feeling of the divine presence in us all the time. That this body is only an instrument, the physical body or the subtle body or the causal body, but some divine power is operating and working through that. How do we maintain that in the midst of our everyday activities? That should be an outcome of our meditation process. And you will find that with that you have greater stability and anchor and balance and poise. You don't get knocked too much around when outside physical changes, situation changes in the external world. And ultimately, if you can realize yourself that what we really are, then everything can be taken away and you will remain as that nameless, formless, bodiless reality that we always are. That is the goal of meditation, goal of spiritual disciplines. We will discuss this idea a little bit in tomorrow's class, the Sunday class on mind management techniques, and how we can make this ideal of a spiritual realization as a living something in our life, so that we are aware of it all the time and the mind understands its glory and beauty and is attracted to that. And the more it's attracted to that inner truth, inner beauty, you'll find that it will become less attracted to things outside. Sri Ramakrishna says, as you go towards the east, west automatically becomes further and further away. You don't have to, in a violent way, cut yourself from the outside world. Just develop a taste for that inner purity, goodness, and you'll see outside things naturally will fall off. So, these are all theories and practices and processes. The test of the cake is in eating it, and by meditating only we can experience and get acquainted and realize what we really are. So let's all meditate deeply, sincerely, with great patience and perseverance and intense yearning, and discover the truth. There is no other place, no other way to reach that high state of peace that we are all seeking. Om asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.